welcome back to the Scarlet and Black Nation podcast. We're your hosts. I am TJ Kern. That is Blake Hartsfield. Blake, a lot to get into on this episode. We've got basketball getting going in the Big 12 as they are 2-1 to start Big 12 play, including a tough loss down in Houston that I'm sure we're going to get into here in just a second. But Blake, it's also a sad pod. As football season does come to an end, the Red Raiders lose to Oregon in the Orange Bowl down there in Miami. We're going to get into that, as well as portal season. Like, football is a 365-day-a-year sport these days. The transfer portal is now open, and we are going to talk about next year and all the guys that have already committed, maybe some guys that are still out there waiting to commit. There was the big fish, which was Cam Coleman from Auburn, who ended up at the Whiny Orange last minute Brinks drop of some cash to get him away from the Red Raiders. But we'll have a little bit of fun with that. But Blake, let's talk a little bit of hoops first. This team getting going here in Big 12 play, and it seems like they're starting to find their stride a little bit. It's, after the Purdue game, we were pretty hard on them, but we said, hey, give them a little bit of grace here, pump the brakes on all the criticism, and lo and behold, they're starting to get it together and play some good basketball.
TJ, they don't have a bad loss, and the resume at this point in the year is significantly better than the resume at this point in the year last year when they got a 3 seed. If for nothing else, then they played a significantly tougher non-conference schedule. They have, in my opinion, still one of, if not the best wins in the country, and that neutral court win over Duke at Cameron North up at the Garden in New York City. They don't have a bad loss, TJ. I mean, they lost to Illinois on the road, who's a top 15 team. They lost to Arkansas, who's a top 20 team on a neutral floor in Dallas, and then they lost to Purdue, and they got beat pretty badly in that. On a neutral floor in the Bahamas. But since then, TJ, they've started off conference play well. And they've got the loss to Houston down at the Fertitta Center. No shame in that whatsoever.
Almost pulled that one out.
They did almost pull it out. They had the lead with 3 minutes to go, and then Houston, made some plays on defense, as Houston does. But they're 2-1. They've won the 2 games they're supposed to win of Oklahoma State at home at Colorado. The Colorado game got a little dicey there in the second half after getting out to a big lead. And then TJ, the loss at Houston, I know there's never a good loss. But if there ever was such a thing as a good loss, that was the game. I thought there was a lot of growing up for the Red Raiders in that game, right? Houston is as physical and tough of a defensive team as there is in the country. Christian Anderson got a real dose of reality as the point guard. He was, I'm just going to come out and say, he was in hell, TJ, for most of that game with the trapping and the ball pressure, and that's going to make him better. He'll be more prepared for it when we see Houston again in a week or two in Lubbock. But if there's ever a good loss, that was the game. What I took away from that game, and you saw it in the Duke game as well, that they gutted out a win, is this team is a lot tougher than they were when they got run off the floor by Purdue. And then in the second half against Arkansas, they kind of lost a little bit of their edge a little bit. But they're a lot tougher. They're more competitive. They seem like they've got a group that now wants to compete on both ends of the floor. And they look like a McCasland team, TJ. They seem to be getting better as we get into conference play here, which is what you want to see. And they got a layup game on Wednesday against Utah at home before starting a really tough 3-game stretch that I think even if you go 1-2 in, I think that you could take away some positives from that. And that 3-game stretch is home against BYU, who's very, very good, at Baylor, and then home against Houston. So that's as tough of a 3-game stretch as anybody's going to see.
No doubt about it. And that Houston game, man, that you touched on it. I came away really impressed with this team because of the physicality and the pressure that
they answered the bell in that game.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, there's no such thing as a good loss, right? It's still a loss. But at the end of the day, they showed me something
They did.
in that game that they can battle with one of what I feel like is the top team in one of the top three or four teams in the country. Yeah, they're ranked seventh. I mean, whatever. I mean, one of the best teams in the country on their home court,
Yeah.
and you went toe to toe with them, and you're still shorthanded.
Yeah. They don't have any of their bigs, TJ. I mean, quite literally, the JT Toppin, who's they list him at 6'9". I think he's more like 6'8", a long 6'7". But Bam is out, Mosley is out, Mario's been out, so they need to get healthy. They need their bigs. I don't think that you can survive the gauntlet of the Big 12 without a couple of those guys coming back. So it's definitely a concern. But they're getting contributions from guys that you wouldn't expect. Leon Horner has kind of grown into a rotation piece here. Nolan Groves, when he's been asked to come into the game, has showed himself well. Your guy, Jalen Petty, right? Looks like a player. He's
Yeah.
forced himself into the starting lineup. Still think he has the second ugliest jump shot I've ever seen to only Sean Marion, but it goes in. So I guess that at the end of the day, that's what matters. And TJ, I think the biggest difference that you see from what you saw against Purdue and kind of some of the early game struggles, even in games they won where they weren't putting away teams that they should have been blowing out until late in the game. Christian Anderson is averaging, I think, 19 a game now. He's decided that he needs to score the basketball, which you and I have both said that he needed to be looking to score. And then I think we got to give a lot of credit to LaJon Watts. I think he has really kind of found his role on this team. He seems to be giving you more consistent scoring and has become that third scorer that this team needs. And they're playing good basketball, TJ.
Yeah, I mean, I was definitely going to head down Jalen Petty lane there for a second as, man, that kid's confidence level is through the roof. I mean, they talk about kids from Seattle, Gary Payton and Damian Lillard's from Seattle, right? You get a lot of these really good basketball players coming out of Seattle, and Jalen Petty's just in that lane of a really good freshman and somebody that I wasn't sure at the beginning of the year how well he was going to play. But boy, he's not afraid of the moment. He's not
No,
afraid to take a
it's
shot.
fearless. Fearless.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, he's absolutely fearless when it comes to attacking the basket. Right? He can play above the rim, going and dunking and doing all that. But then his 3-point shot is better than I thought.
It doesn't look like it should go in nearly as much as it does. So again, as long as it makes him, I mean, it's a slow release and kind of a hitch, and it's not centered, but it goes in. So
Yeah. And then Donovan Atwell, my guy, the lefty, just continuing to knock down big time shot after big time shot.
yeah, absolutely. He's playing really well. He seems to have wrestled most of the split minutes between him and Brian have seemed to break his way. He's earned it. He's playing good defense, knocking down shots when he's asked to. And I mean, I said it a second ago, but like you can't have this conversation without John Watts. I mean, I think he's been outstanding for this team. So playing a little point forward, he seems to be getting a little better at the D5 bully ball. Or booty ball, bully ball, whatever you want to call it. He's shown he can knock down shots from the outside. I think he seems to be more committed on the defensive end too in the last couple of weeks. So I think he's really playing well.
And it's funny, we can sit here and have a basketball conversation and get this deep into it without mentioning JT Toppin, the men's reigning Big 12 player of the year. I mean, that guy just 20 and 10 every night.
It's almost to a point where, like you said, we haven't mentioned him because you don't need to mention him. I mean, his impact on the game is undeniable. You can't miss it. He is as consistent of a player as you're going to find in the country. Even in games where like he'll have a first half where he finishes the first half like 4 points on like 2 of 6 shooting or whatever, and then it's like you look up with 6 minutes to go in the game in the second half, and JT Toppin's got 18 and 12 and is the best player on the floor, and it's just he's so good. And if he gets to his left hand, it's a basket. I mean, people cannot stop him if he gets to his left. So I'd like to see a little more consistency from the free throw line from JT. I think that's been a little bit of an adventure for him this year. He seems to have regressed a little bit from what he was doing last year. But he's he's the best
In
player on the
the
team.
jump shot, I mean, the 3-point shot, he was knocking it down at a better rate
Yeah,
last year too.
he's not knocking it down as well this year. But hey, look, he's the best player on the team. Um, I actually think Christian Anderson's probably going to be the better pro. But JT Toppin's your best player. He's one of the best players, if not the best player in the Big 12. He's one of the best players in the country. He's going to be a finalist for the Naismith, as I've said multiple times. I mean, his impact is undeniable.
This is a little off topic, but since you brought up Christian Anderson being the better pro of the two, can the Red Raiders finally get a legit? Can Christian Anderson be that guy that sticks in the NBA? Like
Yes.
Texas Tech has had from Culver to Zaire Smith, Jemias Ramsey, Mac McClung.
Hey,
I
Mac
mean,
McClung has carved himself out a role as a dunk contest specialist. All right, so
for
no,
sure.
I do think that Christian Anderson is going to be. And correct me if I'm wrong, isn't Jemias in the NBA and playing
He is
as a role
actually, I
player?
believe, overseas right now.
Oh, he is overseas. I thought he
Yeah.
was a role player in the league.
He was in the G League for a while.
It shows you how
Um,
little I watch NBA basketball, TJ.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
so out on the
He
NBA,
fought.
especially
He
after
fought
the.
through the G League for a while, and then according because I'm actually friends with his godfather, so yeah, he's apparently overseas right now.
Gotcha. Well, as you can see, that's how little I follow the NBA. I'm kind of out on that league as a whole. I think college basketball is the purest form of the game. But to answer your question, I do think Christian Anderson is finally going to be that Red Raider that sticks. I think his game is very much centered and suited to the modern NBA game. He's a guard that can shoot the ball really well at a high level. And if nothing else, look at what he was able to do at the at the European competition over the summer, playing for Germany. Goes toe to toe with Luka, and I think in that game had 28, 12, and 8 or something like that. Just was the best player for Germany. I mean, yes, I think Christian Anderson will be a solid NBA player for a lot of years.
Yeah, and I'm hoping so. Being my guy C4.
Yeah.
So that being said, here on the Scarlet and Black Nation podcast, that's a little basketball talk. Now we're 2-1. Now we got to get into the thick of this thing, the ugliness that was the Orange Bowl, Blake. And I think, look, when the season started, you and I both had the Red Raiders with one loss. We had us get into Arlington, and we kind of both said, depending on who you play, maybe you could, you had a good chance to win the Big 12. As the season went on, the way things were playing out, it was looking like you're going to get to Arlington, and you damn well better win it, right? I think you and I can both agree, anything after the Big 12 championship was going to be looked at as gravy, right? And then
I
at
think
one
at the
point,
start of the season, I think that's fair. I
right,
think expectations changed when you saw just how dominant this team was.
and dominant the defense was for sure.
Well, the offense was a top 15 scoring offense for most of the year, TJ.
Yeah,
So
yeah, but I mean, it was the reason for the hype was the
the
defense.
defense, for sure.
So I'm with you, right?
And I do think, TJ, before we get into this, the defense acquitted themselves in that game. They were fantastic, in my opinion. Absolutely. You could not ask for
Championship
the
level,
defense. You could not ask for the defense to play any better than they played.
and that was against the best quarterback they've seen all year.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, the two pro quarterbacks that they saw, they ended up taking L's, but they played great in both games.
Yeah, I mean, the Arizona
Sam
State game,
Levitt and Moore.
yeah. The Arizona State game, they were on the field for the whole game. They kept them in the game. Same thing on the Oregon game, right? They were on the field the whole game, and I thought they played even better in this game than they played in the Arizona State game. I mean, they had more seeing ghosts a little bit. And the defense acquitted themselves very, very nicely. You think about the 23 points Oregon scored, right? Well, take away the 7 on the last play of the game when the defense had kind of quit on that last drive because the game was over, and Dan Lanning's being an asshole, running it in and scoring, calling a timeout, going on to the 4th down to come out and score Which, by the way, Karma's you know what, and his
Right.
star running back broke his clavicle and wasn't available for him for Indiana. So that's what you get, Dan Lanning, for not showing a little bit of class and kneeing the ball out. But then take that 7 away. The only other touchdown, TJ, that the defense surrendered was on the sack interception, whatever play it was, where the guy ran it back to the 4-yard line, and then they scored on the first play because they only had to go 4 yards to score. So other than that, this defense held Oregon out of the end zone the whole game, despite the fact that Oregon got the ball, I think 5 or 6 different times, starting inside Tech territory from either from turnovers or a big kick return or whatever. And this defense continued to answer the bell time and time again. The front was great. David Bailey was fantastic. The guy who I think was maybe the best player for the Red Raiders, TJ. I thought Lee Hunter did more for his draft stock in that game with how well he played and how much he dominated than anybody else on the team. I just, I can't say enough good things about how the defense played that game throughout the whole season. They were absolutely a championship caliber defense, and I'm of the opinion if they're not the best defense in the country, they're a top 3 defense at worst.
Yeah, it was tough, right? Like, because you're sitting there watching the game, defense is keeping you in it, offense isn't really doing much, and then at the half, you're sitting there and you look up and it's 6-0, and you're like, "Hey, I mean, as bad as things have gone, you're a one-score game still."
TJ, beyond that, even after the strip sack interception thing that led to their touchdown, the defense got to stop, right? They give the ball back to the offense, and we're going to the fourth quarter, and coming out of the fourth quarter, first play of the fourth quarter, the Red Raiders have first and goal from the 9 in a 13-0 game. If they score on that drive and Baron Morton doesn't throw one of
Oh my
the
gosh.
worst interceptions I have ever seen, I have ever seen on third goal. Which, by the way, I'm going to save that.
Yeah.
He had a guy wide open over the middle of the field. He should see him.
Well, wink, wink, wink. We're going to get into Baron Morton. So,
Terrence Carter was standing wide open in the middle of the end zone on that play. If you score on that drive, despite how not doing anything on offense and how badly everything was slanted in Oregon's direction, TJ, you score and you make it 13-7 with 14 minutes left in the game. This defense gets a second wind, right? They continue to battle. The momentum changes a little bit. Maybe Barron gets some confidence, and who knows? But yeah, the defense.
as soon as that ball was thrown into double coverage, it was pretty much lights
Yeah,
out.
the defense was outstanding. They deserved more from what they got from their quarterback and their offense. And credit to Shaw Wood and this unit. They were a generationally good defense. And it's going to be tough to field a side of the ball that's that dominant for a long time. That's how good they were.
Yeah, this is the most impressive. Look, I've been watching the Red Raiders since I stepped foot on campus in 07, and it goes without saying, this is the most dominant defense. And
dominant unit. And we've had
yeah,
we've had, the Patrick Mahomes offenses, right?
this
The
is right
Graham,
up there with them.
yeah, it's up there with the Pat Mahomes offense in terms of dominance, who was routinely losing with scoring 50. It's up there with like the offense in 08 with
Yep.
Harrell and Crabtree. Like, that's how good this defense was on their side of the ball and doing what they do.
And then, not to mention David Bailey's a projected top 5 pick.
Yeah,
Romello Height, another projected
first
maybe
rounder.
into the first round guy, and
Yep,
Lee
I think Lee
Hunter.
Hunter is going to be a
You
second
said,
round pick. I think Jacob Rodriguez will be a second or third round pick. Yeah, they got NFL talent all over the defense.
and so that, not to mention, this is a side note, Red Raider NFL note, the tackle leader for the season this year, Red Raider Jordan Brooks.
Yep.
So congrats to him. But yeah, it was so much fun, right? All year long to watch this defense do what they do. And man, I was disheartened because I really wanted to beat Oregon, but at the same time, I was like, all right, we're here now. We know what it takes. And now let's turn the page, because Blake, this offense was ugly. And you and I have been on this podcast for 4 years. We saw Baron Morton's first game as a Red Raider at Oklahoma State, right? We've been pumping the pom poms for Baron Morton. We've had his back through thick and thin, through all the injuries, through all the ups and downs. You've been the conductor of the train, right? Um, I just, and he will always go down as the quarterback of the first Big 12 champion Red Raider football team.
Yeah.
That's hands down. He did it. He was the quarterback of this team. That being said, between all the injuries, and he's a tough son of a bitch, right? Played through all these injuries and gave it his all. Local kid, the story,
Loves Tech.
everything.
Loves Tech.
Yeah, loves Tech, everything about it, right? But let's be real here. His reputation will always be about this game and how poorly he played
And I think
and
that's
the fact that he
unfair.
couldn't stay healthy.
I think that's unfair. I do. Unfortunately, you're right. That's how people are going to remember Barron, and I hate that for him because I think he's been a really good quarterback for the better part of 3 or 4 years here. He's battled a lot of injuries for 3 or 4 years. He's played through injuries. Um, he's given it all for this program and this team, and he's, along with McGuire, a big reason why this program has been able to elevate itself over the last 2 to 3 seasons. Um, I hate it that
To your average Tech fan,
I
this is
yeah
what they're going to remember.
I'm not arguing that, TJ. I think you're right, and I think it's a little unfair, but it's the reality of it. You know, it is. It's unfortunate because that has to be the worst game he's ever played in his life at any level, right? I mean, from high school, middle school to high school to his 3 years at Tech, and I mean, TJ, it was bad, and there's really no other way to objectify it. I mean, he was missing. There was plays, and we've taken some time between when this game ended and when we're talking about this now on this podcast. It's been about a week and a half now, and just life and schedules and everything. And I've gone back and watched the both the TV copy as well as some of the overhead and all 22 stuff. Um, there was plays to be made, TJ. I mean, there was guys open on a lot of plays. There was a lot of plays that he had time and he had a pocket that he could step up into. I understand there was some pressure, but Oregon has a good defensive line. You're going to get some pressure, but there was plenty of opportunities to make plays from the pocket. TJ, he was missing open screen passes. I mean, like throwing it in the dirt or throwing it out of their reach, and he finishes the game with, what was it? Was it 3 interceptions? Hold on. Yeah, 2 interceptions, and then I guess they're calling that one that I mentioned a fumble, but and then the fourth turnover is when Cam Dickey put the ball on the ground. But two and a fumble, three if you want to call that a third interception, whatever you want to call it. 18 of 32, of 17 QBR. It was bad, TJ, and it almost looked like and felt like when they didn't get off to a good start, they had the 3 and out, and then he threw an interception. It's like he lost his confidence, and it seemed like the moment was just too big for him. Um, and
And a lot of the national pundits, if you listen to any of that stuff before the game, were basically saying, "Hey, this is an amazing defense, but is Baron Morton going to be good enough
and they were all
against
right. I mean,
higher level competition?"
they were all right. He didn't rise up like I thought he would, and it's a shame too, TJ, because he it was an F game from him, right? I think even if you just get a B- game from Barron, you win because of how good the defense was. I truly believe that if he just gives you a B- game, you win. It seemed like the moment was too big for him. It seemed like he was getting tricked by Oregon's coverages, but it was because, and again, I've gone back and watched the copy. he wasn't working through any sort of progression. It was like he was taking his pre-snap read, right? And he was deciding before the snap based on what the defense was lined up in where he was going to throw the ball. And that's like freshman mistake, right? You're a senior quarterback. Like go through at least one or two reads and then bail. But he wasn't doing that. TJ, the interception in the end zone with at the beginning of the fourth quarter where he threw it to Eakin in double coverage. He had Terrence Carter wide open in the middle. He had Reggie Virgil open over the middle. Never even looked at him. That's one of the worst decisions I've ever seen him make. It was a terrible, terrible read, terrible throw. And it kind of just was the icing on the cake to put the game to bed. And yeah, I don't have a lot of positive things to say about him other than the fact of I appreciate what he was able to do for this program. He did, lead him to a Big 12 championship. I do think, and not that it would have made that much of a difference, but I think that while the 30-day layoff was good to try to get him a little bit healthier, I also think it messed up his rhythm and his confidence. And TJ, I also think that, he didn't get a lot of reps this year. I mean, he played through the injury and missed several games, but he wasn't practicing because he was nursing that leg injury and couldn't stay healthy. And it's just unfortunate, man. I mean, I love Barron as much as anybody, and I've defended him. I've stuck my neck out for him. And he's just, it was just a bad game.
Unfortunately, it was the wrong game at the wrong time. As a program, we're looking to really take that next step and really needed a big performance from him. But he wasn't alone, Blake. That running game couldn't get anything going either.
Yeah, Cam Dickey. I don't know what happened to Cam Dickey in that game, but he forgot who he was, right? He's a north-south one cut. I'm going to run a guy over and get up the field. He was trying to do too much shimmy shake, and the spin move led to a fumble. And I'm kind of going, dude, like, be who you are, right? You're not Jacoby. You're the power back. You're the between the tackles. You're the one cut and go back. And frankly, TJ, the only two players on offense who I think are absolved from their performance in this game are Terrence Carter. I thought had a good game when he was able to get an opportunity to get the football. And then I thought Jacoby was their best player on offense. But not only, the running game didn't get going, they couldn't bust a hole. TJ, I think some of that also is systematic, right? And play calling. And I really like Mac Leftwich. I do. And I think he's going to be a really good offensive coordinator. I'm not going to totally crucify him because, while I think that schematically he could have done a few things differently, and I think that he is really young, and I think that there's some growing up that needed to happen and probably did happen in that game as they've self-evaluated. He does get a little bit of a pass because what are you going to really call when your quarterback can't complete a screen pass, right? And he's got zero confidence and can't go through a progression. But Mac Leftwich got absolutely taken to school by Oregon's defensive coordinator, who's now the head coach at Cal. Growing up needed to happen, and I think it did. It's going to in the offseason. He'll self-evaluate and get better. I think it'll help that he's going to have a quarterback that I think fits his system and can do a little bit of the quarterback, zone read stuff a little more that Barron just couldn't do. That does not mean we need to go back to the Arizona State where we called, 16 quarterback runs, but and did not throw the ball down the field at all. But you look at the two games they lost, and the offense struggled in both of them. And I think that Max got some blame in that. He's not solely responsible, but all in all, the offense was horrible, TJ. And they got to turn the page and try to reload again next year. I think that we're about to talk about some of that, but not a lot of good things to say about the offense in this game.
Definitely not here on the Scarlet and Black Nation podcast. We could turn the page on the Orange Bowl as a whole. And Blake, let's go ahead and just kind of fill everybody in on what's happened since. Your offensive coordinator, contract extension. Your head coach, contract extension. Your defensive coordinator contract extension. My guy Kenny
That's the best one.
Perry.
That's the best one of the bunch, by the way. They need to pay him like a head coach of a group of five and keep him around as long as possible. And TJ, I mean, he's young.
I
I'd
think.
love for
Have
him.
you heard that guy's locker room speech? He's going to be a head coach.
Well, I would love to be able to keep him. Let's say McGuire wants to do this. McGuire's what? He's how old's Joe McGuire? Is he
Oh, he's
56 or
not old enough to
57?
start thinking about a. You'd lose him way before that. You're dreaming.
Not if you pay him like a head coach, you won't. And you make him the head coach in waiting for however long you got to make him.
I mean, this fool's not going to wait around 20 years to be the head coach. Joey's not that old.
He's 54. How long is Joey realistically going to do it? Does he want to do it?
15 years?
You think he stays 15 years?
I mean, I don't know, but he's young enough to do it 15 years.
I think you pay Shaw Wood whatever you got to pay him to keep him around, and he's
I
your next
agree.
head coach.
I mean, I agree, but that guy's going to be a great head coach for somebody.
He's 43. He's 13 years younger than Joey.
Yeah. So, I mean, how old is he?
43.
Okay, so yeah, he's right there with me. I mean, I'll be 41 next month. So
you got to keep him. I don't care what you got to pay. Pay him like a head coach. You got to keep him.
That's the bottom line. And then so all the coaches, right, got extensions. We're bringing them back. Okay, here you go. Terrence Carter coming back. Howard Sampson coming back. Bryce Pollock coming back. Your entire running back room, including Joyner, will be back. Joyner, Dickey, and Williams will form a trio next year.
You're missing the biggest one, DJ. You're missing the biggest returner.
Well, go ahead.
AJ Holmes, baby. Second team All-American. Defensive tackle coming back.
AJ Holmes coming back. Like, I mean, dude, this is
Curry's back. Roberts is back. I mean,
Roberts and Curry at the linebacker spot. You got a lot of talent coming back.
Ponton was a freshman All-American.
This transfer portal.
Yeah, Ponton
and
was
boy, I love transfer portal season, Blake.
I do too, TJ.
Because Cody Campbell is going to do whatever it takes to piss off the NCAA until they change the rules.
Except sign Cam Coleman, but
yeah. So let's get into it.
If you believe the rumors, they had a committable offer and a handshake agreement, and an agent that went to the Whiny Orange school down in Austin gave Texas a last opportunity to beat the number, and I'm not sure that same luxury was extended back to the Red Raiders after that happened, which I don't know that to be a fact. That's just something that I've kind of been loosely told. But anyway.
Yeah, so look, I mean, Cam Coleman didn't make it to town, but Blake, you know who did? We got ourselves a quarterback, my friend. And if you listen to the Scarlet and Black Nation podcast over the last couple months.
It's almost like somebody on here said this, like 2 months ago?
Yeah, a few months ago. As soon as Howard got hurt, we started talking about candidates for the opening. My guy Vegas Blake over there, he knew he had a little hunch that Brendan Sorsby would be the guy.
We have Brendan Sorsby, TJ. He's going to be a significant. I like Barron, but this is a significant upgrade. He's an NFL talent, big arm, accurate arm. He can run the ball. He can take the pounding. He's not had, knock on wood, he's not had injury issues like some of the quarterbacks we've had around here between Barron or Shuck or whoever. And Brendan Sorsby, and he's going to have more talent around him here than he's ever had at Cincinnati. He kind of drugged Cincinnati this year to the record that they had. He had them competing late in the year for the Big 12 title in that game against BYU. Not the Big 12 title, for a chance to play for the Big 12 title with BYU in that game. I'm really excited. Brendan Sorsby is going to be a great quarterback here, TJ. He should start off the year in the top 10 Heisman odds, I would assume, going into next year. It speaks volumes that he was Lane Kiffin's first choice over, the aforementioned Sam Leavitt, who sounds like that's where Leavitt's going to go as of today, although Tennessee's trying to make a last-ditch pitch. But, yeah, I mean, they wanted Sorsby. Miami wanted Sorsby to replace Carson Beck, and he's in Lubbock, like we said here for a while that he was going to end up in Lubbock.
So very exciting to have somebody of his stature coming to town, and then he's going to have a bunch of toys to play with. And man, you just give him
Still
a
think they need
shot.
to go get one more receiver. I think the wide receiver room needs one more.
Well, they need a dog. They need a leader.
They got Simmons today, and I think Simmons is again it's another number two. Can Micah become the number one? Maybe
Okay, there's
that
your
might be
topic.
the answer. Um,
Is it time for Micah Hudson to put up or shut up?
I think so. He's got to. He's at a minimum. He's got to be your number two next year. He's got to be a starter and productive. I'm going to throw one more name out there, TJ, and this is very similar to the Sorsby thing, right? I think there's a little recruiting, tampering, whatever you want to call it, that might be going on. Uh, Brendan Sorsby seems to have recently followed this individual after the Cam Coleman news. There's some scuttlebutt out of Eugene that he might be looking to leave because they brought in a couple of receivers, and their star receiver who missed the year because he was hurt with an ACL, Evan Stewart, very explosive, athletic receiver, uh, might be portaling here in the next day or two. We still got another 4 or 5 days for people to enter the portal, and would not shock me, TJ, if the Red Raiders are involved in that recruitment. So just look, I don't know for sure. I just know that tampering, recruiting, whatever you want to call it, it's very similar. Like I told you this was going to happen with Sorsby. I told you this was going to happen with Austin Romaine. I know we're about to get into this defense. Evan
Right.
Stewart, Oregon receiver.
Evan Stewart, Oregon receiver. Blake, I know you have the list pulled up
I do.
of all the guys that have
Yep.
committed to Tech so far.
Yep.
But before we get into that, there's one guy I want to talk about, and that's this safety from Minnesota, because he is, from what I've seen on film in Twitter highlights, just a animal.
Yeah, he's good. Coy Parrish, really good player, really productive player. He's been, I think this year is on the third team All Big Ten team. He's been on the All Big Ten team the last 2 seasons. Either I think last year might have been a second teamer. Athletic, rangy safety. Similar to he plays both sides of the ball. He plays some slot receiver. He wouldn't do that here. Similar to J-Rod in that he's a little bit of a ball hawk. He takes football away a lot for Minnesota. Sounds like it's a true coin flip between us and the aforementioned Oregon Ducks for his services. Sounds like I do think Tech is going to come back in with one more push and maybe up that offer a little bit. Sounds like he's also waiting to hear Oregon's got a safety that might be coming back, might be going to the pros. There's some conversations going on at Oregon for that. I think if he comes back, he's absolutely a Red Raider. I think if that guy goes pro, it might turn into a little bit of a bid situation, back and forth. But yeah, I mean, in addition to getting the quarterback and getting some weapons and things of that nature, I still think they need one more receiver. I still think they could maybe use an offensive guard. I think ideally you'd love to start Sampson at left tackle, Zambrano on a medical red shirt at left guard, Wilson at center, a transfer portal high-level right guard, and then Ponton, freshman All-American this year, at right tackle.
You're telling me Oho's not going to start?
No, not even no. They'll redshirt
The
him.
number one offensive lineman in the country?
No, no,
Wow, that's news to
not
me.
no, not going to start. They'll redshirt
On
him.
a skill perspective or just on a depth perspective?
I don't think he's physically ready to start, TJ, at the level that the Red Raiders want to be at. I think he needs
Okay.
a year in the weight room. I think he needs a year with his technique. He did not, there's some clips that have come out. People are panicking about it. I don't put a lot of stock into a little one-on-one clip, but he didn't look great at the All-American game and some of those individual one-on-one drills. I think he needs to work on his. I think he's going to be very good. He'll be a star for the Red Raiders, but I think he needs to get some technique. And I think he needs to, because he's always been the most physically gifted guy on his high school team, so he didn't really need technique because he could just. But I think he needs to put on 15 to 20 pounds in muscle, college weight conditioning. Right? It's different, right? Coming to the Big 12 versus 6A in Texas high school, in the trenches at least. But no, I think that's the ideal offensive line. TJ, they've added blue chips on the defensive side of the ball. They've rebuilt this front which I thought was really important.
We're going to get into that here in just a second. As you have the list pulled up,
I do.
they lost a ton of talent on this defensive line, Blake, but they doubled down.
Well, they got 3 blue chips coming in on the defensive line. So that blue chip, if for those that want to know how that's classified on the transfer portal, the Red Raiders brought in 8 total blue chips last year. In last year's class, that's a 90 or higher rating on 0-3 as a transfer rating, right? So, you think about you got to start 4 guys across your front, right? Well, AJ Holmes, second team All American, he's going to be one of the starting defensive tackles. There is hope in the building that they can get a medical red shirt exception waiver for Skylar Gill-Howard. I don't know if that's going to happen. They're operating as if they're not going to get him back, but if you do, that just adds to the pool of depth. But TJ, the 3 blue
the guy
chips
from
that
Wake Forest.
Well, that's we're going to get to him. He's okay. One of the 3 blue chips. So the 3 blue chips on the defensive line, we'll start with there. And your defensive tackle, Mateen Ibrahim, he's a 92 from Wake Forest. He is the number 1 defensive tackle in the portal, Red Raider. And then the 2 edges, they got Adam Trick from Miami of Ohio. He is a 6'4", 220 physical kind of power bull rusher, can set a good edge, good against the run. He's, I think, more your Romello replacement, but I think he's a little bit better against the run than Romello was. He might not be as twitchy and as quick off the get out, or off the jump, but you replace him, and then it's hard to replace a David Bailey. What he does is pretty unique and freaky with the bend and the speed and just, everything that he brings, his hands. But on the other side, they got Trey White from San Diego State, 6'2", 255. Quick get off, right? He's your quick twitch athlete. I think with some, he's productive last year at San Diego State. TJ, these are 2 of the top 5 edges, and they might be in on one other one. The number 1 edge from Missouri, Wilson. Sounds like there might be a visit coming after this dead period on Wednesday, but we'll see. And then, depth-wise, they had JoJo Johnson from Oregon State, who's a really twitchy, athletic defensive tackle. They've got Guyton coming in, who's going to, rotate in as a defensive end, as a true freshman, number 1 edge player in the country. They signed another edge from Akron who can play tackle or edge. That's kind of twitchy. I really like what they've done there. TJ, Austin Romaine, I think, is the closest thing in the portal you could get to Jacob Rodriguez. He's not going to be as dynamic taking away the football, but I think that's going to kind of be Ben Roberts' role. I think as a whole, the linebacker room is probably about a push to this year's linebacker room because Romaine is 90% of what J-Rod was, but then Curry and Roberts should both be better. So, I think your linebacker is really good, and then you get Bryce Pollock back, you get Boyd back at corner. If they can land the safety from Minnesota, I think your defense is going to be really solid again next year. They've done a really good job rebuilding that side of the football.
It's really exciting to see what they're doing. As we record this, we got a linebacker out of the University of Houston who used to be at Tulane.
Yeah.
Used to be at Tulane, then he followed Shieldwood to Houston, and now Shieldwood is his guy. He's a Shieldwood guy. I mean,
yeah, he's a good player. He'll fit the system well. He's a depth linebacker. He's got a couple of years of eligibility. It's a good pickup. It's not a highlight one that we need to talk about, but he's a good player.
So a lot of things going on with Red Raider Nation here. For next season, Blake, I wish we could just push the chips in and say, hey, let's play some ball already, right? And then, of course, on offense, just today they land Simmons, the kid out of Auburn, who is not Cam Coleman, but very athletic player.
He'll be your starting slot receiver, TJ. Kenny Johnson from Pitt has been a productive player in the ACC. It will battle for one of the outside spots. I think you need Micah Hudson to take one of those outside spots. As of right now, Coy Eakin is probably still penciled into a big role, which I need to be careful here.
Well, here's the thing. Can we say this was a disappointing year for him?
Is it disappointing year for him? Is it who he is? Because
I don't know. The hype was there for him to have a good year.
What does he do that impresses you?
His hands. He can catch
Well,
the
he
football.
doesn't catch the football. He led the team in drops.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm
he
just,
led the team
I
in
would
like,
just go
look,
with something.
what?
I said I had to throw something out there.
Well,
He runs good routes.
I
Does he?
it's okay routes. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not he's not Wes
Well,
Welker.
I mean,
You
here's
know,
right. He's not Danny Amendola. He's not Wes Welker, and I think that's who they
here's
want
the
him to
thing.
be.
Here's the thing, TJ, and I said I needed to be careful here. I think Coy is he's a fine receiver. He is. I think he was elevated this year because he's buddies with Barron and they have a connection, and I think that made him look probably better than he is, which is why I asked the question: is that who he is, or you said disappointing, and I kind of said, is that who he is? Because Barron wasn't 100% this year. Um, the bottom line is, I think that Coy can be a power four receiver, but I think if you're trying to compete at the level that Tech is trying to compete, and what I mean by that is not just in the Big 12, but win the Big 12, make noise in the playoffs, I think that you need to upgrade the wide receiver room from guys like Koyikin. And that's as nice as I think he's a fine Big 12 receiver for a middle of the road Big 12 team. It is what it is. The drops this year really frustrated me. I wouldn't be saying this nearly as much as harshly if he would have caught the ball like he was supposed to, but he had 6 or 7 drops in the end zone alone. Yeah, I'm just going to leave it at that.
There you go. And I'm with you. This is put up or shut up time for the 5-star wide receiver, Micah Hudson. He has got to come and at minimum be a contributor next year.
I think Coy's spot comes down to the Evan Stewart thing. If they can get Evan Stewart, I think they'll go to Coy and say, hey, this is our plan. You might want to get into the portal and look for opportunities elsewhere. We really appreciate what you've done. I think if they don't get Evan Stewart, they're going to keep Coy around and let him compete for snaps. But I don't think by any means, this year they kind of penciled in their 3 starters, right? They penciled in Coy, Virgil, and Caleb, and they got 95% of the snaps. I don't think that is the case next year, even with what they've already brought in. I think Simmons takes all the slot snaps away from him. I think Micah should absolutely be ahead of him on the depth chart because he's got way higher upside. He's more athletic. He can do more things. I think Kenny Johnson has proven that he can be a productive receiver. He's more athletic. He's faster. He's bigger. So yeah, I mean, I think Coy's going to have to earn if he's here, he's going to have to earn every snap. It's not just going to be given to him like it was this year because, they wanted to make Micah pay a penance, and I get that. And he was buddies with Barron. So that's kind of how I feel about it. I don't dislike the player, but there was a lot of frustrating things about him this year.
And before we get out of here, Blake, are there any other big names that we should be keeping an eye out for other than this Oregon kid? Are we that you can say on air? Because
Well,
I know there's always a couple that you Vegas Blake has to hold back.
The Minnesota kid Parrish is a blue chipper. That's one that they're gonna continue to push for. I can't officially say Evan Stewart because he's not in the portal, but Evan Stewart. Wilson, the edge from Missouri, I think is a name that if they get him on campus, he would start for you. He's probably the best edge in the portal, him or Chaz Coleman from Penn State, who's going to Tennessee. 9 sacks this year in the SEC at Missouri. Brunner, an offensive guard from Wisconsin, second team All Big Tenner. Sounds like Indiana's the favorite there, but it is a dead period, so they can't get him on campus, and they've got a national championship game to prepare for. It wouldn't shock me if the Red Raiders make a phone call and haven't already been on the phone with him several times. There might be one other name out there that I can't get into yet, but I know that they've got some money burning a hole in their pocket from losing the Cam Coleman sweepstakes.
Well, there you go. And man, what a pod. I love this offseason stuff. Love portal season. I love that we're just sitting here and anybody and everybody, it's like, and the other fan base's reactions are just
Hilarious.
gold. They're like, another guy he's going to Tech. There was a South Park clip that I need to send you. I don't know if
I've
you've
seen it.
Have you seen it?
I showed it to my wife and she laughed. It's funny.
It's
It's funny.
it's a good clip, but
It envision, yeah. I just could see Cody Campbell's face superimposed. So pretty funny.
but oh man, we'll get back into this basketball team, and we'll close the book on football for now. But as we said, football is a 365 a day a year sport these days. So who
I
knows?
don't think they're done, TJ. I think that there's another couple of names that they're still working on. So
All right. Well, everybody, we appreciate you hanging on with us here. I know this is probably a little longer episode than usual, but we'll be talking to you soon right here next time on the Scarlet and Black Nation podcast. Blake, how do we get out of here, bud?
wreck them.
Wreck 'em. We'll talk to you guys soon.